All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We are here on this lovely Wednesday afternoon with Oasis at Miami Gardens, partnered with the City of Miami Gardens to bring you some awesome information regarding business certifications. And so we know that business certifications are not a magic wand to be able to grow your business, but they are a tool and a very, very efficient tool that many, if you know how to use the tool properly, are using to grow their business, to get to leverage these certifications to be able to take advantage of opportunities to bring more revenue, to diversify your income. We don't want you to say, oh, I'm only going to do government contracting. That probably won't be a smart move. But if you say, I'm going to make government contracting a part of the mix and the revenue mix capital stack for my business, then it can really be a great way to grow a business and be able to take you to the next level for your revenue. So I don't want to just keep talking too much. I'll just say again, my name is Dr. E, and I am the business coach as well as program development manager here at Oasis at Miami Gardens. We are partnered today again with the City of Miami Gardens. I'm going to ask Ms. Tracy Joseph if she would like to share any words from the city before we introduce our first panelist.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. E. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I am absolutely thrilled to welcome you all at the Oasis at Miami Gardens, and all the partners collaborating with us today. Um, my name is Tracy Joseph. I am the Civic Engagement Liaison with the City of Miami Gardens, and I'm just excited to be helping you all dive into mastering business certifications that can help you with your lucrative contracts and scale your businesses right here in our community. So on behalf of the City of Miami Gardens, I'd just like to welcome you all and thank you again.
Thank you so much. All right. We are ready to roll, and we have three wonderful panelists here today. And it's such an awesome privilege to have all of them in the same room because we've been around town and we kind of go to different presentations and you get to hear from one agency. But we have three agencies in the room today. The first of which is CareerSource South Florida with Mr. Jarvis Washington. So we're going to welcome you to front and center stage. And we would love to hear about the wonderful opportunities for that certification presents itself with the Career Source at South Florida.
Thank you, Dr. E, and good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with the Oasis team once again. I'm going to share my screen and just kind of give you all a little bit of an overview of who we are at CareerSource South Florida. So a little bit about us. So we are the Workforce Development Board for Miami-Dade County. Our goal is really twofold. So our main purpose is to help people find jobs, but to also help employers build out their workforce or their talent pipelines. And there are several incentives that we offer to help get those, help those employers get, build out their talent pipelines. So there's four that I'm going to cover today. The first one is what we call paid work experience. So think of this as a paid internship. Um, we cover the cost for these employees 100%, anywhere from about 6 weeks to about 2.5 months. Again, no cost to you, cover their full salary and their workers' comp. It's an awesome way for you to try out that employee. Ideally, we want you to keep them on long term, but it's a way for you to help kind of get somebody in the door. And as you're, working to train them, there's no financial burden on you as the employer. Okay. Once you finish that kind of paid internship piece, then we would look to roll them over to the next opportunity, which we call on the job training. So think of this as a more extensive internship, but the responsibility to pay that employee is going to be on you. Okay. So with the on the job training incentive, we can help do reimbursements up to 100% of their salary for up to 6 months. Okay. So up to 100% because you're in an opportunity zone. up to 100% wage reimbursement for that employee. Okay. Again, it's a great way for you to help upskill or help train that person for a little bit longer amount of time. And you're able to get your money back. Okay. The third incentive that we offer is what we call incumbent worker training. So let's say you have an employee that you've had for at least 6 months and you want to help get them licensed or certified in something. We can help cover the cost of the training for that individual. Okay, so with the incumbent worker training, we don't cover wages, we just help cover a portion of the training cost. Okay. Only thing that you need for this is that person has to be there for at least 6 months, and making sure that you're training them in order to not have to lay them off in the future. Okay. And then the last incentive, and this is more of a long-term deal, is registered apprenticeships. So registered apprenticeships are earn while you learn opportunities, where an individual is going to school for a portion of the day, and then they're working on site for the remainder of the day. And a lot of the apprenticeship programs that we collaborate with some of the different apprenticeship sponsors have built unique programs to where those individuals are doing everything right there on the spot, or they're doing a virtual component and then working right there. So they're not having to travel back and forth between the work site and campus to complete their programs. And it's a great way for you to help build out that pipeline. These are a little bit longer programs. These could be anywhere from a year to 2 years. Some are a little bit longer than that. But the end goal is what we want. The end goal, that person gets a nationally recognized credential from Department of Labor, Department of Education. They're getting a nationally recognized credential, depending on the program that they're in. So it could be an ASC if they're in our automotive program. Again, it's a great way for them to help elevate themselves and get an early jump start in their careers. Now, since we are dealing with federal money, there are some eligibility requirements. So there's eligibility for you as the business owner, and then the individuals that are going into these opportunities. For business eligibility, we're going to make sure you're located here in the state of Florida, your local business tax receipt for both the county and the municipality that you're in. So if you're in Miami Gardens, we need to make sure you have that too. A workers' comp policy if you're over, we have more than 4 employees. Make sure you're registered on Sunbiz, and then you're in the current location for at least 120 days. Now, the 120-day requirement can be waived, and it's also applicable to if you're working with a co-space. Okay, so there's a little bit of flexibility built into that. For the participants, they just have to be eligible underneath one of our training programs. But because Ms. Lawanda got on me the last time, I added 2 things to this. So one of them is some additional incentives. So the first one I want to talk about is federal bonding. So let's say you've interviewed somebody and they might have a background, or you're not totally comfortable with onboarding that person. You can look into doing federal bonding. This is an opportunity for you to get an insurance policy essentially on that person. So God forbid anything happens, you're covered. Okay. So we'll help you fill out that application with the state. Bonds are issued in $5,000 increments. Coverage lasts for 6 months. You can extend it as you need it. And then the individuals that are eligible for these bonding opportunities are ex-offenders, anybody who may have poor credit or some issues with finances, especially if they're going into banking. That's something that they're very cautious about. And then anybody who you might not be comfortable with hiring. Again, it's a great way to protect you as a business owner. And then the other incentive that I want to talk about are the tax credits. So these are tax credits that can help get you some money back if you're hiring individuals that fall into what we call special categories. So these are justice involved individuals. These are veterans. These are individuals that are on types of public assistance. So SNAP benefits, cash assistance, if they might have any disabilities. they're on SSI. Again, these categories have different numbers tied to them, but it can help get you up to $9,600 back on your taxes for 2 years. And again, it's really to encourage hiring those diverse populations so that you're, again, helping to build out your talent pipelines within your community. And then there is my contact info. Happy to share the presentation, happy to answer questions, happy to connect with anybody that wants to know more information about CareerSource and what we do. My role as an OSO is to really deal with community partnerships and, help try to solve some of the issues in the community. So let me know if you have any questions or need anything from me.
Thank you so much. We have a couple of questions that we can take in the chat really quickly, and then we'll go to our next panelist. But Jennifer Embry is asking, is this applicable to hiring remote workers from CareerSource? And does CareerSource supplement part-time or W-9?
Okay, so because it's federal money, they are really strict against hiring remote workers. So you could do remote work if it's just a regular standard job placement. The remote workers would not be eligible for any of the training incentives just because there's certain things built into the law where we have to do on-site visits and we have to look for certain things at a physical brick and mortar location. And then what was the second question, Dr. E? It
Does
was
CareerSource supplement part-time or W-9 employees?
no. Again, federal money, so they're making sure that these are W-2 workers. They're officially on your books in a W-2 capacity.
You. Any more questions for Mr. Washington? Let's put them in the chat. Don't forget to be sure to change your settings so that you are actually chatting with everyone and not just the hosts and panelists. And I think Mr. Washington is going to stick around for a few minutes to answer some
Copy.
questions. Thank you so much. So he'll be watching the chat for your questions as well. All right. So, guys, isn't it wonderful that you can actually hire, which is most businesses, salaries and benefits and all that great stuff is the largest expense next to perhaps rent or leasing. So we can hire folks and not have to pay the salary, get reimbursed thousands of dollars. I think that would give any business a boost. And that we also know that CareerSource is actually written into the municipal code for the city of Miami Gardens, where if you have a plan to hire workers, you can get extra points on any responses to bids for the city of Miami Gardens. So check all that information out, take advantage. The main thing is take action. Don't just take this information and say, okay, that was nice. Actually take action to build your business and grow your business, and you utilizing this information, because knowing is what, when we were little from GI Joe, half the battle. So now that you know, the next thing is taking the action. So let's go to Mr. Bryant, Mr. Eric Bryant from Miami-Dade Public Schools, and he is going to tell us about the certification opportunities with Miami-Dade Public Schools. Thank you.
Good afternoon again. Thank you, Dr. E. Let me just get this shared. Okay, can you see the screen okay?
Yes, we can see it if you put it in presentation mode. That way we won't see the sidebar.
Got it? Okay. All right, let me
Yes,
start.
that's good. Thank you.
All right, so good afternoon again. Thank you, Dr. E. Thank you to the Oasis team. It's always a pleasure to be with the Oasis. And so I'm Eric Bryant, Executive Director, Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Our office name is pretty long, but if you could just remember business access, that's who we are. So our role here is to provide access to all contracting opportunities with Miami-Dade County Public Schools, and also to provide ongoing support for our small businesses. And so I'm going to talk to you about our small business certification application. I'm going to talk to you about the eligibility, about the benefits, and then also share information about our upcoming technical business boost. And so just a little bit of background about myself. I've been working in this space for about 7 years now. And so I've been able to successfully guide small businesses as it relates to professional services, goods and services, construction. And one of the takeaways I always want to lead with is doing business with any government entity, including Miami-Dade County Public Schools. It's important that you have a plan of entry. So what are we buying? What are we purchasing? And how can I match my business to those areas of need? Remember that Miami-Dade County Public Schools is the third largest district in the U.S. We're a huge district, so you want to make sure that if you are partnering with us, you understand how we do business. And our role in the Office of Business Access is to help guide you through those waters. And so, as you can see on your screen, the programs that we have available for certification is small business or micro business. If you are a veteran business, we have a certification for that. And then lastly, if you're a graduate of Miami-Dade County Public Schools, one of the schools, we also have a certification for alumni-owned businesses. So our the local program, the business needs to be headquartered in either Palm Beach, Broward, or Miami-Dade County. Okay. Benefits of certification. Since Miss Wright is on, LaWanda Wright is on, I'll start there. So if you have a certification with Miami-Dade County, not the public schools, if you have it with the county, the small business certification, we can reciprocate that certification. What does that mean to you? You can submit what's called an interlocal certification application. It's an expedited process. It's a shorter application than applying anew, and we can reciprocate that certification for Miami-Dade County. In addition to that, we have a reciprocal agreement with Palm Beach County Public Schools. What that means, if you're certified with Palm Beach County Public Schools, we can reciprocate that certification. Or once you get certified with Miami-Dade County Public Schools, Palm Beach County Public Schools can reciprocate our certification. Lastly, Broward County Public Schools, we do reciprocate their certification. Other benefits include if you are responding to what's called a request for proposal, we can assess points. So most of the times we can give 10 points if you yourself is the prime contractor responding, or if you're not a certified business and you're utilizing a certified business with Miami-Dade County Public Schools, you can receive points for that as well. Percentage increases, so that typically applies to what's called an invitation to bid. And how that works is if I'm a certified business, I submit my price at $100, and my competitor is not a certified business. He's submitting at $100 as well. Because I'm a certified business, I can get a percentage discount for having that certification. If you are in the construction area, we have mandatory subcontracting opportunities with prime vendors. What that means is if I'm a prime vendor and I'm awarded the contract, I can get, there's mandatory subcontracting, let's say for the roofing, the fencing, the flooring. If a small business with Miami-Dade County Public Schools is certified in that area, it's mandatory that I utilize one of those businesses to adhere to the contract. Okay. And then lastly, the prominent listing in our business directory. So what that means is once you become a small business certified with us, we put you in our business directory, which is shared throughout the Tri-County. Another benefit of that is, so there's kind of two ways to do business with Miami-Dade County Public Schools. You're either going to respond to a solicitation, or you can partner directly with one of our schools. let's say that you're working with one of our schools. Let's say it's Northwestern High School, partnering directly with them. What our office has done for all of our schools is say that it's mandatory that they utilize a small business to meet their discretionary budget goals, and that's 15%. And so how that works is once you become a certified business, you want to partner directly with one of our schools. You are meeting with one of the decision makers, you can lead with that. I'm a certified business. These are the type of services that I can provide, and I can help you meet your discretionary budget goals. Eligibility, the company does need to be independently owned and operated. And that's important because we want to make sure that the correct business is getting the benefit of the program. You need to be in business at least for 1 full year. So if you filed the business on Sunbiz in 2025 of January, your full year in operation is January of 2026. You're required to have a local business tax receipt. That's essentially also known as a occupational license, and we can accept that from either Miami-Dade County, Broward County, or Palm Beach County. The majority owner needs to be 51% owner controlled, and that owner also needs to be either born in the U.S., naturalized, or permanent resident of the United States. Okay, so these are our programs, and then this is how you become eligible for our program. So if you are in professional services and you're architect or engineer, a part of your application, you are required to submit your business tax returns. And what we do with your business taxes, let's say you submit 2024, 2023, 2024, and 2025, you submit those 3 years of taxes. We're going to look at your gross receipts for each year. We're going to add those numbers up. We're going to divide by 3, and then we're going to see which tier the company falls in. So for professional services, AE, as you can see, micro business is tier 1 is 300,000. So the gross revenue for those 3 years is less than 300,000, all the way up to small business, which is less than 2 million. And so what that means is we look at your gross receipts. Let's say that you're a micro business, your certification is good for 3 years. That's regardless if you start off as a micro or small. You can always graduate from tier 1 to tier 2, from micro business to small business. And then within my small business, you can graduate from tier 1 to tier 2. And then once you are making a lot of money that exceeds the threshold, you can graduate out of the program. Okay, so that's if you are architect and engineering. I know a lot of us may either be in professional services or goods and services, so let me go there. And the same, goods and services this is a little bit more increased tiers, so it goes from 300,000 to 1 million is micro business, and then small business is 2 million to 4 million. And so what does that mean for your company? What does these numbers mean? What is micro versus small? It's important because when you are responding to a solicitation, like I told you earlier, we can either give you points or give you a percentage discount if you have either a micro or small business that's certified. And so most of our goals that we're doing now is race neutral, which means we're not looking at your ethnicity or your gender. It's race neutral. And so when you see our goals for our projects, you're going to see that you can either be a micro or small business. You'll see them together. It's very rare when we say only a micro business can apply or only a small. You're going to see micro and small business together when you're applying for those solicitations. Okay. And so if you're in construction, the tiers increase a little bit more. So 300,000 to 1 million is micro, and then 3 million to 6 million is small business. This is our contact information. I'll also put it in the chat. I'll put my direct email in there as well. And so let me also go through a little bit. I've written down some notes regarding solicitations that we have upcoming. So if you are in the nursing industry, we have a solicitation coming up for in-school nursing and respiratory therapist services. If you're in the insurance industry, we have third-party administration services for the self-funded workers' compensation. If you are in the transportation, we have school bus routes for private bus companies upcoming. And then we also have transportation for special needs students as well that's upcoming with the district. And then lastly, a lot of our business, well, not a lot, there's a new area that we're entering into, which is called the ground lease development. So we're actually looking for developers to respond to those solicitations. It does, a lot of them have an educational component, which is workforce housing, but that also opens up opportunity for community engagement, construction, and a lot of the specialty trades as it relates to construction. So again, thank you all for joining. Dr. E, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for your time. I'll put my information into the chat. And then lastly, I want to say the first Tuesday of every month, so next month is June 2nd, we have what's called Technical Business Boost, where you can come in person and we can walk you through the certification application from start to finish. So we look forward to partnering with your company. Any questions, I'll make sure to put my information into the chat, and then I'll also stay on to answer them directly as well. So again, thank you, Dr. E.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bryant. I'm sorry I said Mr. Bryant before.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, I like to give people their props, and I also love to entry because I know that I understand coming. I came up the rough side of the mountain, so that's why I'm Dr. E.
Understand.
Unlike another Bryant that we know, but we'll leave her out of the conversation today. But thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming. And the reason that I asked in the chat if there's anyone that's a graduate of Miami-Dade Public Schools, because he didn't mention, but there's some rumors around that there's going to be a new program coming down the pike. Is it a year or two? Maybe, we don't know. But where graduates of Miami-Dade Public Schools may get a few perks if you're a business owner.
Yes, that's the Alumni 305 certification. We're still in the early stages of that, so thank you for mentioning it. And so we are looking to find opportunities for those graduates who are directly from Miami-Dade County Public Schools.
All right. Yeah. So I heard about that at another presentation because Oasis at Miami Gardens is all around town gathering the information for
Yeah.
our businesses. And he talked about that at another presentation that I attended. And so get ready. If you are a graduate of Miami-Dade Public Schools, that might be an advantage for you as you are growing your business as well down the line. So thank you so much. So Dr. Bryan is going to stay and answer some questions. I see Dolores says she's a graduate. Put your high school in the chat. I'm from
Yeah,
the
shut your high
one.
school out. Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm from the one and only West, and
There's
I
a
also went to school for advanced studies at Miami-Dade North Campus. So
Dr. E, there's one question in the chat from
there's a question.
Jordan Brooks. Yes. How do I
Okay.
find out about the opportunities you mentioned? Okay, so our procurement website is, and I'll put it in the chat, is procurement, the number two, .dadeschools.net. Okay, procurement, the number two, .dadeschools.net. And then that's where we post our solicitations. And then there's also UNA open bids. And so it was formerly Demand Star, but I don't know if they purchased it, but yeah, it's UNA open bids as well. You can register there and you can see what we currently have bidding and also upcoming from the district.
All right. Thank you. All right. Everybody's shouting out those high schools now. They want those extra points. See, Killian, Miami Lakes Tech, Miami Norland Vikings, South Dade Senior High, Miami Jackson Generals. All right.
I see.
Well, yes. We're going to go to Miami-Dade County now. So we're covering the entire county again with Miss LaWanda Wright, and she is going to share with us about Miami-Dade County certification opportunities. Thank you. Are you speaking, Miss LaWanda? We can't hear you.
No, now I am trying to get
Yeah.
You see one screen or two screens?
We see two right now.
Okay, swamp. There we go. Thank you very much, Dr. E, for having me. Danny, for having me. I definitely always appreciate talking with the businesses that the Oasis brings to the table. And so whatever access that we can share and bring to the business community, I'm all here for it. To my counterparts, that we all work together. I think it's important that everybody know that, Dade County schools, Miami-Dade County, we use CareerSource. And as Dr. Brian has already explained, there are benefits of being certified with us already to get their certification. And so we do a lot of things similar. So I'll delve into some things that's more different. But we definitely have the same kind of processes and goal setting and stuff. So let's get started. I am LaWanda Wright, Section Chief here in the Strategic Procurement Department, where we are the arm of government who recruit the businesses to do business with the county government, carves out opportunities for those businesses, make sure that you're in compliance and you have access to business resources at all times. And so strategic procurement is the central agency for all acquisition of goods and services, any services, design, build, construction, you name it, for Miami-Dade County government as a whole. And so they're also now, we used to be on our own, but we're also under strategic procurement in running our small business enterprise program. As many of you have heard, we are SB program. And so what do we buy? Everything. And so literally everything from A to Z. So whether it's, professional services, chemicals, we buy vehicles, uniforms, promotional items, janitorial services, pens to helicopters, you name it, we buy it, because not only do employees from an operational standpoint have needs, but the community has a need. And so that means sometimes it's just a matter of doing your research at miamidade.gov to see what is the county buying. A lot of times people don't think of off the wall kind of things, and I'll just say this, like crematory services. Crematory services, somebody has to do something with the unclaimed bodies. Towing services, and so we know a lot of funeral homes, we know a lot of towing companies, but we've had to go out and actively recruit those type of industries and businesses to do business with the county government on some of these contracts. And so, why do business with the county government? And so our number one purpose, of course, is to give access to opportunities across our various departments. We have 26 departments, and many of them have multiple divisions up under it. We have about 8 to 10 county offices. We want you to have access to long-term contracts. Everything that we do as a public entity is transparent, which is important to remember that across the state of Florida in general. We are public entities, so we have to be transparent. We want to definitely be engaging and inclusive to all the stakeholders, which means not just county employees, but also you, the community. We want to make sure that we have experienced and knowledgeable staff that is working with the business community and on these contracts. And then we also generate additional revenue for the county through our county's user access program, which helps all municipalities and non-county entities who are accessing county contracts. And so, there's a listing of who those members are. So what that means is you could be on a contract for, say, City of Miramar, who is piggybacking off of a county contract that we've already have in place, and there'll be a fee in there that's called the user access fee. So, small business enterprise program. That's what we do here. I've been doing this one job 23 years. I enjoy working with the business community and organizations like Oasis to engage and give access and information to the business community. And so we have this program in place so that we can give local small businesses in Miami-Dade County an opportunity for access to contracts with the county. It is a race and gender neutral program. And the programs we have are in construction, goods and services, and architectural engineering. It is completely free. The application is completely online, and the certification is valid for 3 years. So it's important to know that if you apply the certification in 2024, you should be coming up to your 3-year mark in the next year, and to keep your certification active and current at all times. Now, the program was established, of course, as I stated before, to promote the local businesses. We are governed by implementing orders and administrative ordinances to say that we want to carve out opportunities for our local businesses here in Miami. In order to contribute to the economy, those opportunities, are available. So much so that we have mandated in our legislation that a minimum, which is this, not the ceiling, it's the floor, a minimum of 10% of counties' operational budget must be contracted out to certified small business enterprise. So our budget last year was $13 billion with a B. So just imagine if 10 billion of that is operational, that means 10%, a minimum of 10% of that must be carved out for our local small business enterprise program. So it's important to know there is advantages for being certified, and that we are constantly trying to carve out those opportunities. And so the small business certification, just like day schools, you have to have a Miami-Dade County local business tax receipt. But for us, we look at you already having it in place and active for at least 1 year prior to coming to be certified for applying. Gotta have a physical business. So we don't certify virtual offices, but if you are in a incubator or hub space, but that space is a permanent location, which means if I come visit you on Monday and I come again on Thursday, you're in the same space, we will certify those type of businesses. And we also look at a 3-year average gross revenue. And so we take the last 3 years. If you've only been in business for 2 years, that's fine. And we will make sure you're not exceeding a certain size standard, because remember, it's race and gender neutral. Everything's based on your gross revenues. But we also look at the personal net worth for each owner. So if your company is owned by a husband and wife team, we don't look at you together. We look at you separately. One cannot exceed 3.5 million and the other one cannot also. And if you are mandated by the state or locally to have a license for your trade and what you do, that license must be current, and whoever holds a license must have a certain percentage of ownership. For example, a construction company, the qualifier of that company needs to have at least 10% ownership in the company. If you are an architect, they need to have at least 25% ownership in the company. And so proof of those ownerships will be needed at the time of certification. Now, these are the breakdowns as far as the gross revenues for each program. Once again, as I stated, qualifier of your construction of goods and services is 10% ownership stock in the company, and architecture engineering is 25%. But for construction, for the 3-year average, if you are a building general construction contractor, you cannot exceed a 3-year average of 15 million. That's a lot of money, but we've gone up. Those numbers were much smaller a few years back, but as business here is growing, the economy is growing, and we want to still be able to carve out opportunities for our local businesses, those thresholds have increased. For heavy construction, average of can't exceed $12 million. And for your specialty contractors, the contractors cannot exceed $8 million. For our goods and services, you cannot exceed a 3-year average of 8 million. However, if you are a manufacturer or a wholesaler, we go by the number of employees and not your gross revenue. So sometimes we know as a manufacturer or wholesaler, your gross revenues are much higher, and they fought to keep it that way. And so if you are a manufacturer, you can't have over 100 employees. And if you're a wholesaler, you can't have over 50 employees. So it's important to know that. And then for architecture engineering, the 3-year average can't exceed 6.5 million for architects and 8 million for engineering and landscape architect companies. So why would you get certified? So why would, if I meet you in person or we're on the phone, try to recruit you? And this is our number one goal. And Eric spoke to some of these things that they do also in the school board, in the school system. And so our number one goal always is a set aside, which is 100% of a contract being carved out for only the certified businesses. And so if you're in the federal line of business, that'll be called a sheltered market, right? And so what we do is we won't just pull, make a decision out of the sky and say, hey, we're just going to make this a set aside. What happens is we look at contracts coming from the various county departments. They send it to us, we review it, we look at our certification lists. We will survey those businesses who are certified in that particular industry or trade and say, hey, are you ready, available, willing, you have the capacity? And based on those responses, we need at least two, only two, that says they are ready, available, and willing to make a contract a set aside. If it's over $1 million, then it need at least three. That's a small number of people who need to respond to make something a set aside, which means you go from bidding in the ocean to a small little pool against a very few folks that probably has the same size standard as yourself. And so that's our number one goal, is a set aside. The second is either a percentage, a bid preference, or a goal or measure. So the example is, I'm gonna go to goal and measure. If there is a $35 million contract out there and all of our firms who respond to say, hey, I have the capacity but to do X, Y, and Z, I only can do this, or I have this. And so we know the contract is too large for our certified small businesses. We'll say, well, let's mandate that 10%, 15%, 30% of that overall contract must be subcontracted to a certified SBE firm. And so that's now saying, okay, we can't mandate a whole pie. Now we're going to say a percentage of that pie, right? And so that's our second goal. Then the third goal is, well, say we only have one company certified in whatever that item is. But just in case that one company happens to bid, we're going to give them a 10% discount bid preference. So the example in, I'm certified and Eric's not certified, and we bid, and my price is 100, his is 100, but now my price becomes 10% less, so it's $90. They're gonna still pay me the 100, but my price, so that I can get in the number one position, became $90. So the SBE certification gives you that advantage. And as I already mentioned, there's a minimum of 10% of county spending must be contracted and awarded out to certified firms. So this is not a best kept secret. If you think you're ready to do business with county government, if you think you're ready to do business with local government in general, do your research, see what it takes, because you need to share it. The more people we have in the program, the more opportunities we're able to carve out. Right now, we currently have about 1,800 certified firms. Some people think that's a lot. It's not. Now, when you have 80,000 small businesses in Miami-Dade County alone, yeah, just that much. Yeah, it's a lot. And so we have programs in place to where there's rotations for our certified firms so they can get contracts easier. So we have it for our A&E companies, and we've had it for our construction companies. And even though the laws have changed in the state of Florida in reference to construction contracting, we still have a non-competitive bid rotational pool for contracts up to $500,000. So that's an advantage, to being certified as a construction firm if you're in construction industry. But in addition to that, once you're certified, Jackson Hospital uses our certified firms. They go to that list. You may be invited to bid on something. They literally carve out the same kind of goals and percentages we do. Greater Miami Expressway Authority uses our certified firms. Miami-Dade College uses our certified firms. City of Miami uses our certified firms. Because they don't do certification, they use our list. So I've had vendors tell me, hey, I haven't gotten a contract with the county, but I got several with the college or several with Jackson Hospital. It's a public list. It's giving you additional opportunities, inclusive of Miami-Dade County government. So certification gives you added benefits. And then what my team and I do directly is management and technical assistance. So as I mentioned, we go out and recruit the businesses. So if a department tell me, hey, LaWanda, I need plumbing supplies. We don't have enough companies in the list. We will go out and recruit those businesses to get certified. once they get certified, or once you get certified, we provide a one-on-one needs assessment meeting. This is to get to know you, your business, what you want to sell to the county. Do you have needs as a business in general? And so if you have needs, then we refer you out to those entities that can help you with those needs. If it's workforce needs, of course, we're going to refer you to workforce. If it's access to capital and financing, I have an in-house person that deals strictly with that. And so there's various business needs that you may need. If we don't supply it directly, we have a resource partner that does. We provide workshops like this, informational sessions. We work with you and the user departments to get you paid. And if there's contract and payment issues, we literally are your advocate and your liaison to working with the county government in general. As we're constantly doing outreach events, recruiting, we do that from county line to county line. And then we also have a mentor protege program where we can assign those who are certified to a mentor. Now that program is on hold because I'm down staff, and so because my staff has to participate in those meetings, but we're hoping to kick it back off again in a few weeks. We also provide, as I mentioned, bonding and financial assistance. And so my in-house person, Carlos, works with you. He's going to ask some tough questions. You need to be honest about what you've been doing financially, because it can make or break who he refers you to, and what capacity and level you are at as far as who can assist you. Is it a traditional bank? Is it a non-traditional bank? Is it, not yet? You need to get these things in order. Do you need bonding? Our construction contracts or anything over $200,000 require a bond. Our security guard contracts will require bonds because those are usually 50-something million or $5 million, and then we have access to capital mobilization, lines of credit that he works with lenders for you to make sure that you have what you need. Once again, if we don't know you have the need, we can offer it, but we can't, really help you unless you're honest about it. And while I'm here, that means you should be filing your tax returns. Please, I mentioned this at the last meeting, you can't be in business and not filing tax returns. Even if you had a loss, you should be having your tax returns in place. And not just that, all your documentation for your business. You need to make sure that, if you are required to hold a license from the state or the local level, those licenses are current. Your lease agreements are current. You have access to your local business tax, all these things in one place, easily accessible, because we all ask for the same things. School board asks for the same thing that I asked for. Broward County does the same thing, and so on and so forth. Now, best practices. You got to know your worth, know your numbers, know what you can bid something for. If you need to pay payroll, or do you have enough, are you going to be able to make payroll? Because county does not pay you in advance of a contract. They don't do that. You do the work first, and then you bill us, and then we pay you. So you got to make sure you know your numbers, you know that contract, understand it, ask questions. When you're bidding, whatever you're bidding is what we're going to hold you to. So you need to know that you can do that, or you have the capacity to do what it's asking for. But if you're not clear, ask the questions beforehand. It's something that's called the RFI period. During the solicitation time period, ask those questions in. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. They don't post who asked the question. They just send an addendum saying, these are all the questions. These are the answers. You want to be in the know. Do your research, previously awarded contracts. So as I mentioned earlier, this is a county, public entity in the state of Florida. So you, under the Sunshine Law in the state of Florida, you have the right with a public entity to ask for copies of previously awarded bids. Why would you do that? It shares what we bid before, what we were asking for, who won it, and how much they bid for. Now, in saying that, my personal pet peeve is, if you look at a contract that was from 5 or 7 years ago, and we have that contract coming back out again, you should not be bidding the same price. You're leaving money on the table. Don't be so desperate to get a contract that you leave money on the table. Now, I'm not saying you come in and your bid should have been $200,000 and you bid $2 million. Well, we're not going to do that. But know your true capacity and what it's going to take. Do your market analysis. Say, this is what the industry is charging for this. This is what I can do. And if you bid, you don't win, ask for a review. Why didn't I win? You should always be asking that question. Was it because somebody just had a really better deal with a distributor or wholesaler and they was able to offer something cheaper? Or did you just miss something and you didn't realize it and you could have won? And so once you are awarded, everything should be in writing. Please, you get awarded a contract, all of a sudden a staff person calls you and say, you know what, can you do X, Y, and Z also? Don't do that. Please don't. Get it in writing, because I cannot fight for you to get paid if it's not in black and white. So make sure if someone's actually doing anything that's outside what your original contract terms are, you get it in writing. And then follow up during and after the contract. You know, if they don't do evaluations, we do evaluations for construction contracts, but ask them, how did I do something I could have did better? You want to know. And then say, you know what, LaWanda, I don't meet the requirements for certification, but I still want to do business with the county. Every one of you should be a registered vendor. This is not certification. It's a different system from certification. It is basically saying, hey, county, I exist. I want to do business with you. I want to sell my widget, my service, or whatever it is. And you are able to then, you put us on notice. You then begin to receive notifications about contracting opportunities. You can see the bids, the proposals electronically. You can see where the awarded contracts are in this same system. You can view, your personal purchase orders, invoice status, and payment information in the same system and in forms. So everyone should want to be a registered vendor if you're not already. And the process is completely online, just like our certification. It's at no cost to you whatsoever. You can update your contact information. You can view, those bidding opportunities. And I want to say this. So certification is in the Business Management Workforce System, right? BMWS. Vendor registration is in the Inform system. Make sure whoever contact information is on either one of those systems. If you're certified, you'll be in both. It's someone that's going to answer the phone, answer emails, is going to have the right information. And God forbid you have staff leave and you have somebody new. You need to update this information, because this is how we contact you. It's going to be rare that you're going to get a phone call unless we're questioning you about something you did. You're going to get everything via email. So you want good contact information at all times. And as I stated, you can change your mailing address, your contact information. Now, owner information. If you're changing owner information, it's okay. But if you're certified, that's another process, because remember I said we look at the personal net worth for each owner. That change in ownership, meaning somebody left or somebody was added, could make or break whether or not you still stay certified. And so you can delete, they're called now the category codes. They used to be commodity codes. So when you are registering as a vendor and you're becoming certified, those commodity codes should be actual work that you do currently. Not something you want to do 5 years from now, because you're going to start receiving solicitations for something you don't do. They need to be right now. And so you want to make sure that that stuff that you can do now, and you have access to those bidding opportunities. And one of the things I wanted to mention that I believe Dr. Bryant mentioned was, once you get certified, what I would recommend is you talk to the person that contracted you, and the second person should be the payables person, right? Why? Because if you're certified small business, put you're certified on your invoices. We are mandated to pay an SB invoice that is approved within 14 days of it being approved. 14 days. But if you submit an invoice that's inaccurate and there are issues on it, there's stuff on it that shouldn't be, that clock keeps restarting every time you have to make a change. So when you talk to the accounts payable person or the payables person in that user department, there are different people in different departments, and your bid may say they want you to attach receipts, delivery proof, and all these other things for one department, and another department may not want that. So you got to talk to that person and know what you need to submit. We help you in getting paid, but it's good to know in advance once you are awarded that you're going to have access, and you can submit a good invoice the first time around. And with that, I think that's it. Here's a quick survey. You guys can fill that out. And I think I saw some questions in the chat. Let me give it a minute before I stop sharing. But we are downtown. I do want to put you guys on notice that it's something that's called the office hours. That's Drive 305. Beacon Council, my office, has been doing where we are in 3 different locations across the county. We're at South-Dade Government Center. We are at the hub here off of Biscayne. And then we're in the city of North Miami Beach, City Hall, on the last Thursday of every month. And so there are various resources that are there also. And I'll get that flyer to Dr. E and she can share that out. And I'm hoping in the near future that we'll be at the Oasis also. And so, but we are here to assist the businesses. If you have questions, ask questions. And you can't break Miami-Dade County's website. So you can always go to miamidade.gov and look at the different departments, see what they're buying, see what they're offering. And that way you can be prepared when you're ready to start working with us. And I'm here downtown in the Stephen P. Clark building. We have regular procurement on the 13th floor, and I'm on the 19th floor. Thank you very much, Dr. E. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you. I do see a question that's asking about needs for transportation and mobility. So that was a question for all of the panelists. If you want to answer that, where can they find information about transportation and mobility opportunities?
So I know with our transit office, there is several contracts for transportation and mobility. In addition to transit, the Office of Community Action and Human Services has a provider list that they put together for when the community need those services. And so I'll put my email again in the chat. They can email me and I can forward them those contact persons in those departments.
All right. Looks like Mr. Washington's ready to answer.
I was going to say, anybody that we deem eligible underneath our training program who's looking to go into either schooling or a work experience or an OJT opportunity is eligible to get bus passes from us as a part of a support service. And there's other support services that are centered around that as well.
Dr. Bryant?
Yeah, sure. So there's a few that we have coming up. The school bus routes is one that's coming up soon to be prepared for. And then in addition to that, there's solicitation for transportation for school special needs. So those are 2 that are pressing and should be coming or releasing through Miami-Dade County Public Schools soon.
All right. Now, that question, do you have a bus company you work with, or are those for students with passes?
Mostly, so how the process works with Miami-Dade County Public Schools, we release an invitation to bid. The school bus businesses that are interested, they need to meet the minimum requirements, the insurance, etc. And then we put those vendors on a pre-approved list. And then only our schools can utilize for the school bus routes those businesses on that pre-approved list. So we're a big district. We're unlikely to award to just one company. A lot of times there's multiple companies on that award list.
Thank you.
And I would like to offer also those pre-approved lists are called pre-qualification pools with us. And so we consider those low-hanging fruits.
Mm-hmm.
If a vendor provides, so like janitorial services, landscaping services, plumbing supplies, several different types of contracts. Well, actually, there's over 100 pre-qualification pools. But what you do is when that solicitation comes out and it says it's a pool, you pre-qualify, you submit your response, and on an as-needed basis, the departments who've put money into those contracts, when they have a need, they're only going to solicit the people in that pool. Mm-hmm. So that's those. I consider those low-hanging fruits. And so if you see something when it is solicitation comes out and it says pre-qualification, if you can do whatever it is or supply whatever it is, that's your best bet to get on those type of contracts.
Thank you so much. We have come to the end of our presentation, but if you have more questions, continue to put them in the chat. And we're also going to ensure that you get all the information that the panelists supply by email. So I think I already have the CareerSource and Miami-Dade County presentations. So Dr. Bryant, if you have something you'd like to share with everyone here, I'll make sure to get that out this afternoon. But wanted to share a little information with you about Oasis at Miami Gardens before we go. We are your business resource hub. So we have lots of partners, some of which are listed here, that we utilize to ensure that we're bringing you the best up-to-date information, opportunities, guest speakers, etc., because we are here to help you grow and scale your business. So one of the things that we do is each month we have a First Friday business breakfast, and we always have a learning opportunity during that business breakfast. And this month for June is going to be your new business partner, AI. So is to show you what is actually available out there, because your competition is using AI. And so even if you're not ready to use it, you need to, again, be in the know and know what's out there so that you can understand how to perhaps leverage the power of AI to grow your business as well. So we'll put that link in the chat. I'll also send it to you in the follow-up email. But that's going to be next Friday here in person at Oasis at Miami Gardens. So we hope that we can see you there, learn about some automations, learn about how you can elevate your business using artificial intelligence, which is nothing new. It's been around for about 70 years, but it is now catching on for the everyday person, just like sort of how we had laptops in the late 70s. People had small personal computers, but probably by the 90s was when everyone had one in their house. So I used to play around on my dad's Commodore computer. So I'm telling my age, but that was so long. But my dad was a computer geek. But people had computers after that. But now AI, been around for many years, but it is taking off for the average everyday person. And we have to make sure that we stay in the know. Also, Oasis at Miami Gardens, we have expert resource community center, which presents the first time homebuyer workshop here every month on the second Saturday. So if you're looking to become a home owner, which we know is one of the ways to build generational wealth, you can register for that. We'll send you the link for that as well. But the biggest barrier is the down payment. So lots of people they can pay rent. So especially with the type of rent we're paying right now, you can pay rent, you can pay a mortgage, but the down payment is the barrier. So you should be able to go to this workshop, find out about all the stackable resources there are to get you to be a first-time home buyer. And then we have our co-working day each month. So our mantra is learning, doing, coaching, and connection. So we learn at the beginning of the month. We do it. We have coaching that is free, which I'll tell you about next. And then we have our connection during our free co-working day, where there's usually a learning opportunity there with some free snacks and just a way to have fellowship with some other business owners. So I'll send you that information as well. Free business coaching here. You need someone to bounce ideas off of, help you come up with some action items, send you in the right direction of some other resources. You can see that beautiful lady in the corner. I don't know where they found her, but she's got the goods to be able to share with you and make sure that you are at least walk away with more than you came with and able to grow your business. So here for you with free business coaching. And then our event center. If you come to our event center, usually for Oasis events, we're set up in classroom style. But if you look at that top image, you can see how beautiful the room can be transformed for any event, baby showers, weddings. Unfortunately, it might be a divorce party, who knows? But we'll make sure any celebration, any meeting, any birthday, any education seminar, our event center is here for rent. We also have office spaces and we have co-working. So if you would like to become a member, our admin here, you can come in anytime for a tour between 9 to 5 on a business day, and we would love to have you. In the meantime, make sure that you connect with us on Instagram and TikTok. I'll share all those links with you. We're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn. We love 5-star reviews, and we love for you to give us some great attention on Yelp. Thank you for attending today. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email back on the Eventbrite if it wasn't answered here today, and you will receive an email this afternoon with all of the resources shared with you today. So thank you again so much to the City of Miami Gardens for partnering with us for this opportunity for our business owners. And we are ready to sign off and have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great
Have a
one.
great one. Thank you.